The lush green landscape of Ishakaki Ward in Maragua constituency paints the picture of a thriving community. A dusty road leads us to a quiet homestead in Kirungu village. This is the home of Judy Wamboi. She greets us with a faint smile, but behind it lies the deep sorrow of a woman still reeling from the tragic loss of her husband 3 years ago. Since 2019, Wamboi has endured profound grief and heartbreak after losing both her husband and son. The two graves in the family compound serve as a constant and painful reminder of all she has endured. Wamboi married Police Constable Harrison Mugo in 2004. Together, they were blessed with 4 children. Constable Mugo joined the police service in 1999 at the age of 22. He was first posted to Jogoo Road Police Station, then later to various stations across Western Kenya, before finally serving in Nairobi. Their firstborn son, Samuel Mugo, was his father's pride and joy. Wamboi recalls the unbreakable bond between father and son, one rooted in love and admiration. Samuel's birth marked a turning point in Mugo's life, introducing him to a deeper sense of responsibility and unconditional love. But tragedy struck on May 11, 2019. Samuel's life was cut short in a road accident during a school trip to Nanyuki in Laikipia County.
Ilimuaffect sana. And Harrison hakuamini ya kwamba mtoto ameenda. So alikuwa yeye hana amani. So Harrison alianza kugonjeka, akagonjeka, akaingia into depression. Pole pole tu ni kama ameanza kuingilia pombe. Pombe ndio ilikuwa ni kama kila kitu kwake. But before that he was a very good family man. He was a good husband, a good father. Kama kuna kitu Harrison angecheza nayo ni kazi. Hata alikuwa akija live hapa, anaweza kuja na kwambia kesho naenda, before 2 days yeye anarudi kazini. I wish watu wangeweza kupick those early signs za depression. Because hao watu wametoa signs. Si nimekuambia alikuwa anamwekea mpaka chai yake hapo atashinda nayo hapo. Anakuambia unasikia tu vile tunaongea. Unaona tu hayuko sawa. But alifika mahali 2022 mwanzo January akaanza kusema mimi nasikia siko sawa. And alikuwa amefika mahali akasema yeye ako sawa kuseek help. Nikatry ku reach boss wake. Mimi nilipo raise hiyo issue yake ya kuwa akona a mental issue, no one listened. Because alikuwa apewe leave, hakupewa. Angekuja naende na arudi kazini akiwa sawa.
According to Wamboi, on July 7, 2022, a video clip of the officer went viral on social media after he was filmed staggering and appearing intoxicated in the streets while in police uniform.
Alikuwa attached to Buruburu police station na alikuwa bado na bunduki yake. Na alifika kazini na bunduki yake na akarudisha amari. But along the way kuna mtu alimchukua video. So the video ilitrend. Ikatrend. Unfortunately mimi sikuwa nimefika mahali kuona ile video. So mimi nilipoongea na yeye that night around 9:30 ndio aliniambia kuna video inaendelea and nini. Nikamuuliza what about the video. So akanieleza na akaniambia hata sasa nimetoka kuitwa na wakubwa. Nimetoka mkutano na wakubwa. Na hiyo ni 9:30 usiku. Na hata sasa narudi mkutano mwingine na wakubwa usiku. So that was my last thing tuliongea naye. Na hivyo ndio Harrison mambo yake ilienda. Kulingana na wale walikuwa hapo. Na between now saa 6 usiku na asubuhi around 5:36 sali alionekana ndio alicommit suicide. After kutoka hiyo mkutano na wakubwa. Hiyo pia ilimhit somehow na pia nilikuwa aibu kwake I think so. Juu hata ungeimagine. So hiyo kitu ilimsumbua. Yeye ni binadamu kama mimi na wewe, si ndio? Ako na issues zake, ako na za kwake, ako na za kazini, you know. Arudi sasa ndio ingine imekuja. Mimi kwangu naona pia imechangia. It really affected me. Kwa sababu the way the message was relayed to me, ni kitu siwezi tamani mtu mwingine apitie. It was all over the social media, the whatever. Kila mtu alikuwa amejua before mimi nijue. So I would like in the near future, kitu kama isirudiwa tena. Let the family first know before iko all over. Kuna watoto ambao walikuwa marehemu. Kurudi kusikia wanaambiwa mpaka na watoto wenzao, it was so traumatizing. Yeah. And pia wenye wanachukua videos, please, realize ya kwamba these people, these officers, their fathers, their sons, their husbands, and the brothers to somebody.
Interestingly, 42-year-old Mugo was laid to rest without the customary gun salute, which is a permanent fixture in funerals of members of the uniformed forces.
Ati because commit suicide. Sielewi. Yeah, wanasema ni self-inflicted.
3 years on, Wambui has never been able to fully process her husband's death.
Nikifikiria na ile ya mzee nayo ndio hii sasa imekuja. Na ya mzee iligonga juu lazima inigonge kwa sababu being a husband, he's the head of my home. Ameondoka. So amekuondolea any security unaweza kuwa nayo pale nyumbani.
She still struggles to explain to her children what happened to their father.
My life changed. Nina watoto. I'm a mother of 3 now. Niko na secondary, form 2, niko na grade 5, niko na PP1. Nilikuwa na mtoto wa 5 months. Sasa iko na miaka 3 na miezi 3. Hiyo maisha haijakuwa rahisi. Haijakuwa rahisi at all. Unamuoneshanga picha huyo mtoto haizi jua hata baba yake. Unamwambianga huyu ndio baba. Babangu ni askari. Babake ni askari. Ambaye hata imuona tena. Na I'm really suffering. I'm telling you, siko kazi, niko nyumbani.
After his death, she started to follow up on her husband's pension.
Nimefuatilia pension, nimeenda ofisi, nimeenda bima house. Unaenda unazungushwa. Finally ndio niliambiwa, kama December nilienda nikaambiwa kuja January. Kuja January mwisho. So kuenda ndio niliambiwa just the other day ndio niliambiwa huyu mtu hata qualify. Kile maybe atapata hapo ni gratuity peke yake. Ati kwa sababu alicommit suicide. So I wonder, suicide, mtu normal hange commit suicide. Huyu mtu alikuwa mgonjwa. So hiyo kitu imenisumbua mpaka wa leo. Sijai understand kwa nini anyimwe benefits zake na alikuwa amefanyia kazi 23 years. Ule mtu ametoka ameacha gap. Hiyo gap lazima uikave wewe mwenyewe. Then kile kinaweza cover kimeondolewa.
Wambui's experience is just the tip of the iceberg of the deep and often overlooked struggles that widows of police officers face as they seek their husbands' final dues. Millicent Awor Chalo in Machakos County remembers the day when her world came tumbling down in February 2023, as if it was yesterday. It is the day she was left a widow to fend for 3 children. A huge mound of soil still covers the grave of Constable Bernard Chalo Mwania, who was killed in the line of duty. Constable Chalo was part of a group of officers in an operation to restore order in a troubled region of Laikipia County. Before being deployed to Laikipia, the officer was based at Munyange Police Station in Nyeri County. Millicent said her husband had worked barely a week in his new station when he was gunned down by armed bandits.
The mission was supposed to end by around March because he left home in the 5th of February, and by 11th, that is when we heard that they were attacked by the bandits in their camp.
Her husband's death didn't sink in, she says, until the moment she was inside the funeral home nearly a week later. Constable Chalo joined the service in 2008 and was a dedicated and brave officer who had worked for almost 15 years. Since the demise of her husband, the journey to healing has been slow and painful. She no longer has her companion, her confidant, and her trusted friend. A trained nurse, Millicent had to give up her career to become a stay-at-home parent due to her husband's profession as a police officer.
I was married in 2011. By the time of his passing, we were in marriage for 13 years.
She also has to answer unending questions from her little ones about the whereabouts of their father. She says it is an emotional turmoil.
He left me with 3 kids. My firstborn is 12 years, and my secondborn, they are twins. They are 7 years now.
You're going to do that.
He was the breadwinner, and now coping with the fact that he's not around, and I have to be the mom and the dad for the kids. It's really draining. You cannot tell your kids that Daddy Ayuko, that is why this is not around. You have to provide for them.
Millicent had banked on her husband's pension, which she was hoping to be used in the maintenance and education of their children. But she has encountered a heavily bureaucratic process following up on his benefits.
They take the file from from the claim office, that is vigilance. So your file is what they use because to complicate the payment. So in the pension, your file is transferred in Bima House for them to pay you. I started that process of going to ask for pension money in the year 2023. Around November. Till now, I've been going there, but still the same answer. Nobody knows when we are going to get paid. And yeah, we are just being told, wait for a week, wait for a month, we are going to get an answer. Until now, it's been years. Like now it's 2 years and above. I feel I'm really frustrated because now lazima niende ni kama na beg, and hata tukienda there's nobody to listen to you. Unaenda hata upatiwi audience, unarudishwa kwa reception. Hapo tu unaambiwa kama ni pension ya nini, you just go. Hakuna nini, bado they are not sure when they are going to pay you.
Millicent's story is similar to that of Caroline Chepkoech, a mother of 3 who resides in Cheberama village, Kericho County. Even when her husband, Constable Kipkoech Kirui, was alive, her children never knew what it felt to be home with their daddy on Christmas Day. It was a sacrifice she was willing to live with for her country, but not being without him forever. According to Caroline, Kirui, who was stationed in Mandera County, would always call her when he woke up to check on them. But one day, he wasn't answering her text messages. She started to panic, imagining multiple scenarios. Caroline was at home doing household chores when she received unusual visitors.
Maaskari walikuja, walitoka, kuna wenye walikuwa holiday, walikakuja kutuambia na tulipata tena signal.
The news broke her down. Kirui had been killed while on duty in Mandera County. He died on 20th June 2023.
Alikanyaga ID akiwa barabara ya Banisa kwenda Mandera. Walikuwa na escort. Na aliaga tu hapo on the spot.
The deceased was recruited into the police service in 2016. Caroline says her husband, who had worked in Mandera for 8 years, always told her about the dangers he faced and asked her to always pray for him. The untimely and sudden death of a family sole breadwinner left her devastated.
Niko na watoto 3 na wawili bado wanasoma, bado wako shule na wanahitaji school fees, lakini mmoja tu ndiye amemaliza na alimaliza tu last year. School fees sasa ni changamoto kabisa. Si upate school fees na una kazi ni ngumu. Kuwalea tena wanataka, najua sasa wakati baba alikuwa ana provide vizuri. So kuwalea imekuwa ngumu.
The widow says she's facing a pile of hurdles while trying to access the deceased pension and welfare benefits.
Kila wakati unaamka unasema acha niende niangalie. So unachoma fare. Ile fare tena labda umeomba. Unafika huko tena hakuna kitu ulikuwa umeenda kuchukua. Imekuwa ngumu. Mahali pa kulala tena inabidi unakomboa penye unalala. Juu hauna any relative Nairobi. So inakuanga ngumu sana. Kwa matarajio yetu sasa tulikuwa tunafikiria sasa tukipata hii pesa sasa itatusaidia at least tutasongesha penye marehemu sasa alikuwa ametuachia. But sasa hatuoni hiyo hopes.
In Bomet County, the landscape is characterized by vibrant green crops and healthy vegetation which covers the slopey terrain. Nelly Koech endures the profound silence that has filled her home since April 4th, 2021. It has been 4 years since Nelly lost her husband, Constable Charles Koech. Though the pain still lingers, she has found the strength and resilience to navigate this journey.
Mzee wangu alikuwa mgonjwa, alikuwa na diabetes. Sasa alikuwa anameza dawa kila siku. Alikuwa anafanya Nairobi. Siku moja nikaenda kuomba ruhusa akuje Bomet transfer. Juu alikuwa mgonjwa. Ikasiti. Siku hiyo ilikuwa siku ya COVID. Ikatungwa sindano ya COVID. Juu ilikuwa lazima kwa askari atungwe hiyo sindano ya COVID. Akienda transfer. Sasa akaanza kuwa mgonjwa saa hiyo. Akapelekwa hospitali Kapkatet. Alafu akaweka transfer Kericho. Hata hakuenda kwa ward, alikuwa casual tu. Akashinda tu hapo. Hata hatukuongea na yeye. Aliniangalia tu akiwa bado anatibu, akitibiwa. Sasa maisha yake akashindwa tu hapo hiyo siku.
Koech had been a dedicated officer since joining the police service in 2008. Despite his illness, Nelly says he remained committed to his duties and served his country with unwavering loyalty. After his passing, the mother of four now carries the full responsibility of providing for her family alone. It's a burden she bears without complaint, but one that weighs heavily on her.
Unajua askari saa zingine hataki mama afanye kazi, anataka mama achunge nyumbani. Sasa mimi nilikuwa nachunga watoto na nachunga nyumbani. Sasa mzee ameenda saa hii ama alituacha, tumepitia changamoto mingi tu, tunakumbuka ametuacha na hakuna kitu tumepata kwa serikali. Ndiye tuchunge watoto. Mimi napitia changamoto mingi sana. Kuna kijana angeenda college hakuna pesa. Niko na watoto kwa shule na nyang'ania hawa. Na hakuna kitu nafanya. Na hata shamba saa hii ni kichaka na ni kitoko sana. Sina sehemu ya kuuza ndiye nilipe shule.
Her youngest son was diagnosed with diabetes before he even turned 10.
Anajitunga asubuhi sindano mbili, alafu jioni sindano mbili, alafu line time sindano moja. Ako na miaka 14. Sasa shida yenye mimi napitia kwanza chakula. Kuchunga kwanza ni sio rahisi. Unapembeleza na upende. Kama mtoto utengeneze chakula mzuri na uongeleshe mzuri, haitaki ile uongeleshe mbaya ama asione ukikasirika.
Nelly says she has made countless trips to Nairobi seeking her husband's benefits in vain.
Nimeenda huko tangu hiyo siku 2021. Nafuatulia na naambiwa ngoja hii mwezi next month. Faili yangu nimeona tu imefika treasury iko sawa. Lakini sijalipwa. Lakini hiyo siku vile nilianza kuenda, nilikuwa naona ilikuwa siku ya kura ya 2022. Tukasema pengine maneno ya kura ilisuia. Lakini hiyo siku election, baada ya election hatujaona mabadiliko yoyote. Huko nikienda naambiwa tu ngoja, navumilia ngoja, 2023 ngoja, 2024. Last year, mwezi wa 10, ndio tulisungushwa sana.
In April, she was promised that the money will be deposited in her account before the June 2025 budget was read.
Mimi nilifurahi mpaka nikapangia pesa nimepanga. Lakini nimepanga vitu yenye nini, nikiangalia account hakuna kitu. Miaka 4 saa hii hakuna mabadiliko na tunateseka nyumbani. Nimeenda huko sana mpaka nikasema ameniongezea uchungu. Mzee ameenda na huo tena bado ananishungusha, imenipea tena ameniongezea uchungu zaidi.
According to data by the National Police Service, over the past 6 years, 383 officers have lost their lives while on duty. In 2024, 29 officers drawn from the National Police Service as well as the prison service were killed while on duty, with 830 others injured. A total of 37 officers died in the line of duty in 2023. Between November 2021 and December 2022, 54 police officers and 4 prison officers lost their lives on duty. Majority of the officers died at the hands of bandits up north and terrorists in the frontier counties.
Welcome, sir.
And as the number of widows increases, and so has the void left by the death of loved ones. Driven by the experiences, the women found unity in their grief. They started a support group which comprises of widows whose husbands were killed not only in the line of duty, but those claimed by disease or other causes.
Last year, mwezi wa 10, ndio tulisungushwa sana. Tukapatana na marafiki wengi sana, wenzangu wachane wengi, wanatoka mbali tunapatana huko. Kikundi yetu inaitwa National Police Windows. Tuko na wachane zaidi ya 200. Yenye tulipatana, lakini files yenye huko ni zaidi ya 2000.
Tunasaidiana kimawazo, tunasaidiana mentally, emotionally, because now we are people who are going through the same situation.
Welcome, sir.
Families of police officers and servicemen who die while on duty are entitled to substantial compensation and long-term benefits to cushion them from financial hardship. The payouts, which can amount to millions of shillings, vary depending on the officer's rank, years of service, and salary grade. The compensation framework is governed by the National Police Service Act, regulations set by the National Police Service Commission, and the Work Injury Benefits Act WIBA of 2007. If a police officer is killed on duty and had put in more than 10 years of service, under the mandatory group life cover, families of the deceased receive a payout equivalent to the officer's salary for 5 years, which is between 1.5 and 3 million shillings. The dependents are also paid under group personal accident cover, which is equivalent to the officer's salary for 5 years. In addition, the families are also paid Work Injury Benefit Scheme WIBA, which is equivalent to the officer's salary for 8 years. The government provides between 200,000 and 300,000 shillings to assist with burial arrangements. The family is also entitled to a one-time death gratuity. If the officer contributed to the Widows and Children Pension Scheme, the widow receives a lifelong pension, while children benefit until they reach the age of eligibility, typically 24, if still in education, or 18 otherwise. The dependents also qualify for a pension equivalent to the deceased salary at the time of death, paid over 5 years.
So you can see how comprehensively we take care of this officer who dies in an accident while on duty. We pay them from 3 different accounts: 60 months under group life, 60 months under GPA, 96 months under WIBA.
According to the CEO of the National Police Service Commission, Peter Lelei, terms and conditions are, however, different for officers who die of natural causes. This pension is typically based on the officer's salary, length of service, and contributions to the pension scheme. If the officer had worked for more than 10 years, then the widow is entitled to group life insurance cover, the last expense to cater for funeral costs, and death gratuity. The widows of deceased police officers are also entitled to receive a pension under the Widows and Orphans Pensions Act.
Cops that die of natural causes, they benefit from group life, okay? But they had better have served for 10 years, because below, they do not qualify. Secondly, the natural causes, they do not get group personal accident, they do not get waiver, but they get group life. The difference is that. Because the other ones are insurances that only relate to incidental accidents while they are on duty. Where there is no case, where there is no dispute, where there is no no irregularity in the service of an officer, where the computation of the pension itself is straight, we can deliver that pension within 90 days. But that is not the case all the time. Because one, either the family does not have enough information and they take so much time to come to take the claim, or there's a case, a court case. There's very little we can do about that. Or there's a family dispute. There's very little we can do about that.
But according to the widows, even after handing over proper documentation to prove eligibility, the process has taken too long, despite assurances from authorities.
Ukiuliza ile pension ya the police pension, unaambiwa you just wait. They are still discussing, they are still talking. You don't know who is talking, who is discussing. Yeah. So si rahisi, inatusumbua mentally, emotionally and everything, because you are like, this person served his country. Na alikufa kwanza in the line of duty, yet now his family inabaki ikistrain.
Tulikuwa tumepewa barua hapo Vigilant, tukajaza, alafu sasa ikapelekwa bima. Alafu sasa tukienda hapo tunaambiwa tu mungoje. Saa zingine hata uwezi allow uingie hapo, unaulizwa unaenda wapi, unataka nini. Kwanza ukisema we ni bibi wa polisi, unaambiwa ngoja kwanza tupige simu. Sasa akipiga simu akisikia, unaulizwa kwanza we ni wa new scheme, unaambiwa kaa hapo, we siingia.
Tumeshangaa, tunateseka, na tumesema serikali kweli hatukumbuki. Na hizo faili yetu imeenda kuwekwa huko na imekaa sana. Kwanza mimi 2021 mwezi wa 4, na nimesikia kuna mtu ya 2018, 2020. Tumeshangaa mpaka lini sasa tunangoja pesa. Kwanza mimi nilikuwa nimesema hivi karibuni nitaenda kupika nduru huko kwa treasury ama parliament juu shida tunapitia ni changamoto.
In 2021, the government rolled out the Public Service Superannuation Scheme,
where officers who were less than 45 years then, that's 2021, were automatically enrolled. The people who were 45 and above were allowed to continue with the old system to the end. In the previous one, government or the cover took charge, but in the new one, it's contributory. The officer himself contributes 7.5%, and government contributes 15%, double. So that together, it comes to 22%. So in the new cover, if the officer, like before attaining 10 years exits the cover, then he's only returned his own money, his money. But if he has served beyond 10 years, then he gets his contribution and 50% of government contribution.
Sasa wengine wenye waliaka wakiwa na over 45 years ni old scheme. Ndiye tumechua saa hii hawa wameshalipwa na retirees wameshalipwa. Sasa sisi hatujalipwa juu ati sisi tuko new scheme ya inaitwa PSS yenye below wenye waliaka below 45 years. Mwezi wa pili wa mama karibu 3. Mwaka huu tukaenda mwezi wa pili tukaona faili yetu iko sawa treasury. Tukafanya meeting, alituambia pesa iko hivi karibuni. Haitamaliza mwezi 2. Mwezi wa 3 tukapiga simu. Akatuambia pesa yenu iko. Imewekwa iko na kila kitu imekuwa sawa. Ni kusainiwa tu kwa parliament. Hiyo mwezi ya 4 tena ikaenda. Mwezi wa 5 tena pia tunangoja. Tukapigia simu anasema tunaweka hiyo next week, hiyo tarehe fulani tutawekea, msiwe na wasiwasi. Pesa yenu iko, amuyuko budget hiyo ya 2026, 2025. Mko ya budget ya 2024, 2025. Sasa hiyo ofisi ya treasury sioni alitupeleka vizuri. Alitupeleka vibaya mpaka saa hii tunaendelea kuteseka. Na hakuna mtu mwenye ametusikia huko. Kumaanisha iko maneno inaendelea. Unadanganya mtu ni kesho kutwa, ni nini. Kwani watu wenye wako ofisi hawajui ni nini inaendelea? Mpaka watu wanadanganya wamama kama toto chinga. Mimi nilikasirika kabisa na bado mimi naendelea kukasirika.
We actually empathize with those widows because sometimes they spend so much running around within practical efforts, knowing that we are also constrained by budget. We are dealing with between 100 and 115,000 officers. You can imagine, even if you were to give a small benefit, because of the numbers, the wage bill gets unsustainable. So we are making maximum effort to ensure that we stretch welfare benefits. We are not where we want to go. Yes, we are not there, but we are going there.
And the pension issue in Kenya is not just for police officers or those who have been in service. It's a cross-cutting issue, which is of a challenge. But we want to work on the legal framework to make sure that most of these officers and their families are taken care of. So it is part of the police reforms. It was in the task force report that we must make sure that we work on that issue.
According to Judy Wamboi, her husband, who died by suicide, was abandoned by the service in death. He was never accorded a burial befitting an officer. A flag was not put on the coffin and there was no gun salute.
Wajua society wanachukulianga suicide like it's ni kupenda kwako. Wanasahau huyu mtu ni mgonjwa. Huyu mtu si yeye, because mtu normal hawezi chukua kamba kajinyonga. Hapana. Officer hata angeulizwa saa hii mtu ako normal. Hakuna mtu angesema kesho nda commit suicide. No. Hakuna mtu aogopi kifo. But wanafikanga hapo. Hata kama wanasema it's in the Constitution of Kenya. Mimi naomba serikali waiangalie tena. Sinaona daily wanafanya amendments. Hiyo clause tu wanaweza isifanya amendments pia, because these people wameserve serikali.
In a historic ruling for mental health advocacy early this year, the High Court declared Section 226 of the Penal Code unconstitutional, effectively decriminalizing attempted suicide and embracing a compassionate approach to mental health challenges in the country. The mother of 3 claims she has encountered a tedious and difficult process following up on her late husband's dues.
Kuna zo walipeana za burial, kuna zo nilipewa na NHIF. So from there nothing else. Naambiwa benefits. Ile kitu anafaa kupewa ni gratuity peke yake kwa polisi. na benefits zingine zote ambazo zinatolewa mtoto wa askari. Watoto wangu hawapewi. They don't qualify, ndivyo naambiwa. Hao watoto wanafaa kubenefit kama watoto wengine. Why? Kwani wawe punished? Because ni kama kupanishiwa. It's so sad and so painful. Imagine. He worked for 23 years. So, na sasa because wanasema alijua hayuko entitled to hizo benefits zingine za polisi.
According to the commission, when a cop dies by suicide, and perhaps he had worked for over 15 years, dependents are entitled to the group life cover and last expense to cater for funeral cost. Apart from getting death gratuity, which is paid by the pensions department, the widow and children are also paid dependents pension under widows and children's pension scheme. The dependents also qualify for a pension equivalent to the deceased's salary at the time of death, paid over 5 years.
Apart from group accident and WIBA, all other benefits are payable in suicide because we look at it as death, and death is death.
Suicide among police officers is a serious issue. Between 2016 and 2020, the Kenya National Police Service recorded 57 cases of police officers who took their own lives. The data suggests that these incidences are evenly spread between urban, rural, and far-flung areas.
We're very concerned about the mental health in the police. It's actually giving us sleepless nights here. We get very sad every time we are confronted with news on our television about an officer taking the life of his children, wife and children, before committing suicide, or taking the life of his bosses. We first deployed the first counselors to the service so that they can work with stay and work with the officers.
To cushion the families of servicemen who have passed on, in 2022 the government promised to roll out the Benevolent Fund for police and prison officers to offer financial support to families of fallen officers.
Families that are left behind who are very needy and very deserving in terms of accessing modest scholarships for the children, medical attention for those who are left behind as dependents, and also other forms of emergencies. I direct the PS for Interior and National Administration and the Principal Secretary responsible for correctional services to immediately convene a committee together with the Inspector General of Police, the National Police Service Commission representatives, and other stakeholders, and within 30 days to submit a report on how and on what framework we can establish a benevolent fund for the purpose for which I have stated. Within 30 days, I will need that report, including draft regulations of how that fund will operate, the governance structure, and that fund should be housed at the Ministry of Interior and National Administration, but should have a separate administration so that we help in mobilizing resources from governments and elsewhere.
3 years down the line, the charitable fund is yet to be operational.
We are working day and night to ensure that this fund is ultimately created. Even if we use deductions from when the officers are in service, that's the way the military did to build up this fund. But the policy instruments are now under discussion for approval. The moment it is done, that fund will be set up.
To fast-track compensation and improve working conditions for police officers, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen says there is a veteran bill in the works.
All our officers who are serving and some who have retired or those who died in the course of duty, we are trying to make sure that we expedite the veterans law, which is now at a consultation stage, so that we can have clear legal framework for taking care of the families of those who die on duty. And the benefits of those who retire also should be taken good care of.
We are borrowing a lot from KDF, which has got comprehensive comprehensive support systems, including post-retirement medical benefits. We have begun first to centralize pension claims. We have centralized them. They are no longer in the services. We have brought it into a central position.
For the widows, the future looks bleak as they grapple with the pain of withheld compensation.
I wish today wanaweza amka. Wakute familia ambazo walikuwa wameng'ang'ana kujenga zinateseka because walienda. Hawangeenda tena. Hata wangetamani kulea tena wakae wale.
Kwanza mtu kama askari, tuseme saa hii askari sasa waende strike. Hakuna kitu yenye inaendelea Kenya. Kila kitu itakuwa itaharibika. Sasa mbona waheshimiwe nini? Waheshimiwe waachane. Mbona waheshimiwe wale wameenda walipewe pesa zao? Juu tunadai serikali.
Kama sisi widows, serikali inatuangalia because our husbands walikuwa wanafanyia serikali kazi. Kama mimi, my husband died in the line of duty, yet I feel like nobody even notices.
Tukipewa hiyo pesa itatusaidia sana, itatusukuma watoto wasome wamalize, yani wapate elimu yenye baba wangewapea.
Director of Pensions, yeye ndio mwisho. Hiyo nini imepitia, I think imepitia stages zote. Sasa iko kwake. Yeye ndio tunaangalia juu, yani anafaa sasa atulipe. So atuhurumie tu, atulipe kile kinatufa. Tulee.